There was a time when the gods were split into two tribes, the Aesir, who lived in Asgard, and the magic-wielding Vanir, who lived in Vanaheim. One day, the wandering Vanir goddess Freyja visited Asgard. At first, the Aesir were delighted with Freyja's magical powers and loved watching her perform tricks and spells. However, it wasn't long before they used her special gifts to advance their own petty schemes and selfish desires. This caused many arguments between the Aesir, and eventually they decided something had to be done. But, rather than holding themselves responsible for the bad behavior, the Aesir blamed Freyja instead. Odin ordered Freyja to be executed for bringing disorder to his lands. 3 times the Aesir tried to burn her to death, and 3 times Freyja was reborn unharmed from the embers. After this, the two tribes grew to hate each other, and a terrible war began. The Aesir fought with spears, hammers, and sword. The Vanir with spells and sorcery. Battles raged, towns were destroyed, and fields became sodden with blood. Neither side could win, so they stopped fighting and agreed to exchange hostages instead. The Aesir sent wise Mimir and a god called Honir to live in Vanaheim. At first, Honir appeared to give good advice, but the Vanir soon noticed that this only happened when Mimir was close enough to whisper in his ear. When Honir was on his own, he always said, "Let others decide." The Vanir realized that Honir was not a valuable hostage at all, but an empty-headed fool. The Vanir gods were infuriated by this trickery. They cut off Mimir's head and sent it back to Asgard. Distressed by the loss of his cleverest advisor, Odin sang spells over Mimir's head and rubbed herbs into his skin to preserve it, so that his head continued to give advice to Odin. Despite the Aesir's treachery, the gods did not restart their war. Instead, they all gathered together, spat in a cauldron, and used the spittle to create Kvasir, the wisest of all beings, as a pledge of peace. The Aesir and the Vanir learned that despite their differences, they were better off as friends.